Hey everyone, today I'm talking about INFJ personality types, INFP personality types, and the fear of being seen. This comes up so much with my students in classes and also with people who email me and say, I have this fear of being seen, whether that's stepping forward online, publishing creative work, showing creative work, or just expressing your truth in a family situation or a friend group, really stepping up and saying, this is me, and this is what I think, and this is what I feel. When people say they have a fear of being seen, they really have a fear of exposure. With INFJ personality types and INFP personality types, this can be a real problem because on the flip side of that, we also crave being seen. There are a lot of introvert personality types out there that are not comfortable being seen, but in a weird way, they're comfortable with being not comfortable being seen. They don't really care if they're seen. They're content to be the hermit, stay at home, have the job where they have no interaction with anyone else, be in their cave, and that's just fine for them. It's actually not fine for INFJ personality types and INFP personality types. So we have this thing where we really have a fear of being seen, but then we also crave being seen at the same time. So it's this push-pull energy, it's this desire and aversion, and it's happening all the time within us, and it's very hard to reconcile. One of the root causes of this fear of being seen, that fear of exposure, is that when we are seen, when we put ourselves out there, when we speak our truth, that other people are going to misunderstand us. This is a huge issue for INFJ personality types and INFP personality types, that other people are going to misunderstand us when we express ourselves. So we have a fear of being seen, but what it really is a fear of being misseen. It's a fear of others not seeing us as we really are, or not seeing or understanding the thing that we truly are trying to express. And then we are afraid of being judged for that. So we have this fear of being seen that's actually a fear of being misseen. And then deep down, a root fear of being judged for that being misseen, right? So we're really afraid of other people projecting onto us, that we're going to step forward, we're going to put ourselves out there in the spotlight, other people are going to see us, they're going to miss-see us, they're going to judge us, right? And then they're going to project their stuff on us. So they're going to attach their own story to us, which may or may not be true. This is very ordinary, actually. Anyone who's in the spotlight, anyone who is seen a lot has to go through this. And we all see other people go through this when we look at celebrity culture, when we look at people who are very famous, or even people who are just maybe famous to us, right? We're in a certain scene. Maybe not everyone in the world knows these people, but because we're in a certain scene, we know these people, right? So it's the whole spectrum of fame. You can be a little famous or a lot famous, but we see this happen with celebrities. We see other people attach their stories onto that famous person. We see other people attach their interpretation, their judgments onto that person. And then rumors circulate, or slander circulates, or gossip. For INFJ personality types and INFP personality types, we really cringe when we think that any of this might touch us, right? Like we might be the object of the gossip or the object of the slander. And a lot of INF people, because of childhood experiences, because we've been betrayed by others in our past, we've dealt with frenemies or false friends or narcissistic parents, we're really kind of sensitive on this, that other people might purposefully slander us, right? Or purposefully betray us in this way. So that is part of it. But it's actually quite normal for people to project on you whenever you put yourself in a situation of being seen. It's not all the time that those people have nefarious motives. It's not all the time that those people are toxic or they're narcissists. Sometimes they're perfectly well-meaning people who have good intentions and a good heart, but they still are projecting their stuff onto you. That will happen whenever you put yourself out there, whether it's in a public way, like you put something online, or it's just in a smaller group, like your family or friends. Other people are going to project their stories onto you. That's part of it. That just happens. And you are going to be misseen sometimes. So what we need to do is take responsibility for this process. That doesn't mean take responsibility for other people's projections. It means us taking responsibility for our reactions to those projections, right? So somebody missees you, right? You put something out there about yourself, a piece of writing or an opinion or whatever it is, and someone sees that and they are triggered by it. It touches something in them, something that has nothing to do with you, but they are triggered by it, and then they project a story onto you that you're stupid, or you're mean, or you don't have all the information, or you're speaking out of turn, whatever it is, right? So they attach this story onto you, and they have a reaction. They have a reaction that's coming from their projection. An unconscious INFJ or INFP is going to be very deeply hurt by that, because we're going to take responsibility for their reaction. I did something wrong. I am wrong. I should pull whatever it is off of the internet or off of Amazon, or I should retract my opinion, right? I should take it back. I should backpedal, and I should retreat, and I should withdraw because I triggered this person and it's my fault. It's my fault for triggering them, so I need to fix it. That's not taking responsibility for the process. That's trying to take responsibility for the other person's reaction, the other person's process. We want to shift that, so we're taking responsibility for our own process, right? That person is having their experience. That person is having their story. And honestly, if it wasn't you, they were going to attach that story to someone else anyway. They were looking for someone to attach a story to. We all do that. That's a very human thing to do. We all carry stories with us, and we are always trying to attach our interpretation of the world onto things so that things make sense to us. Again, it's a very human thing to do. It's not a bad or a wrong thing to do. We get into problems when we get lost in those stories, and we can't get any perspective, and we can't take a step back, and we can't detach from them. We get utterly sucked into the story, especially if it's a story in which we feel very disempowered or victimized. So, depending on the other person's story, they can have a variety of reactions to you. They can send a variety of projections your way. That's not your fault. You don't need to fix that. You don't need to manage that for them. You don't need to process that for them. You don't need to take on their process. You can see that happening and say, oh, this person actually isn't really seeing me. This person thinks they see me, and I might feel a little exposed right now, but this actually isn't the experience of being wholly seen. This is someone projecting their story onto me. And that's their story, and that's their experience, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not mine to fix. Being seen, being comfortable with being seen, it's a process. It's something you have to learn to do. And I think this is where a lot of INFJs and INFPs kind of miss the mark, because we think it's more like a fear to get over. It's like this little hurdle or this little hump. We just have to get over it. I just need to get on the other side of my fear of being seen, and then I'll be okay. It's not a one-time thing. It's not like this little thing you have to get over. It's a process. It's a learning process, and there's definitely a learning curve with being seen. It's something that you have to practice at. It's something that you have to experiment with, and it's something that you have to work at stage by stage, taking baby steps. So maybe you are seen in a small way. You know, you're with a friend group, a small friend group, 2 friends. You feel relatively safe with them. They seem like open-minded people. You feel kind of comfortable with them. You can make the experiment of putting out an opinion that you feel a little weird about, right? Maybe it's kind of controversial or something. You can float it to those 2 people over lunch, and you can practice being seen in that way. That's not the same kind of experiment as being at your family reunion and making a big announcement about some big new shift in your identity, right? That's a big experiment in being seen. Or, you know, publishing a book. That's a big experiment in being seen. Publishing your memoir, telling your entire family your memoir is out, right? You get to be in charge of the stakes. You get to be in charge of the different levels of being seen. So it's not something you have to do all at once, and it's not something that you can just get on the other side of. It's a learning process. It takes time. Give yourself that time to experiment with the different levels of being seen. Because with every level, you're going to have to learn how to let go of more and more, how to let go of more reactions from other people, more opinions from other people, more stories from other people, right? More projections. Every level of being seen that you work up toward, the projections are going to get bigger. But because you're practicing and you're approaching this as a learning process, you get more and more comfortable with being able to identify, oh, that's a projection. That's not mine. And I don't need to take that. I don't need to take responsibility for that. I can let that go. I can let that person process that. And just becoming more comfortable with the fact that you will be misseen. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean you're doing the whole learning process of being seen wrong. It's just part of it. You will be misseen. And that has nothing to do with you. Often, also, someone else projecting onto you, someone else misseeing you, when they get triggered, that's part of their growth process. I think a lot of INFJs and INFPs, because we're so sensitive to energy and we're so aware of other people's feelings, we absolutely hate triggering anyone else. We feel like we're a bad person or like we've hurt them in some way. It can really plague us and we feel like we've done something wrong and it can send us into a shame spiral. But a lot of the time, we will trigger people just by being what we are, not even doing anything. Just by being what we are triggering to other people. And a lot of the time, when someone's triggered, they need to be triggered in that way. That's part of their growth process, right? Them reading our opinion or hearing our opinion or seeing us do something out in the public spotlight and then feeling triggered by that, that is showing them something within themselves that needs examination. That's showing them something within themselves that's ready to shift, that's ready for the next level of growth. So, of course, most people are going to be very uncomfortable when they're triggered. So you might trigger someone else and, they really get flustered about it and it's a big upheaval for them in that moment and they have a big emotional reaction. But a lot of times later they will settle down. And if they are a growth-oriented person, if they're emotionally mature and emotionally aware, they'll be able to come back to that situation and see, oh, there was a reason I was triggered. There was a reason I had such a charged emotional reaction to that. And it was because something within me was calling out for attention. Something within me was calling out to shift and grow and change. So a lot of the times it's actually very beneficial for people to missee us and work through that projection, again, on their own time. As the INFJ or INFP personality type, you're really going to probably want to, if you know them personally, get in there and be the therapist and handhold them through that, and you don't need to. That is part of their process. I'm teaching a new class on this topic called Healing the Wounded Healer. This is an idea that came to me when I went on retreat about a month or so ago. I went to an energy retreat that really shifted a lot of things deep within me, and one of the themes I saw that came up over that week so many times for the people there was this feeling of being the wounded healer, especially in our families of origin, growing up and in our friend groups, sort of moving around in the world as this wounded healer, kind of in an undercover way, and trying to heal everyone around us, and how a lot of the time it's not healthy, it doesn't work out, it's not helpful to us, it drains us, it burns us out, because we don't really know what is going on. We're not really conscious of our healing abilities. And we're not really conscious as INFJs and INFPs of how to make those healing abilities work for us instead of being this constant drain and sort of this constant anchor around our neck as we're trying to heal everyone around us. And some of those people don't want the healing, right? They're in resistance. They're not ready to shift or change. It's very frustrating to us. It shows up in our relationships a lot. And it shows up in our relationship to self. So I thought I really would love to do a class on this, healing the wounded healer, working with our healing abilities, working with our intuitive abilities, working with our empath abilities, right? Figuring out what's mine, what's not mine, how do I differentiate, what's fear, what's intuition, how can I be in a relationship with someone and not take on all their stuff, right? How can I go to the grocery store and not take on everyone's stuff, right? So really standard wounded healer stuff, and then also going deeper. So this is called Healing the Wounded Healer. Class starts August 28th. And there will be a 5-day registration window, just as normal. If you're interested in this class, please sign up for my newsletter. That's where I'll send out all the updates, the notification that registration is open. Like I said, it'll be open for 5 days. All of my registrations are usually open for 5 days, but you need to be on the newsletter to get that notification. I always get emails from people who are like, I can't find it on your website. You won't be able to find it on my website unless you're on my newsletter. So please sign up for my newsletter. The link is below in the comments. And also please subscribe and to my channel and like this video. It helps me out, helps the channel out. I really appreciate it. I do all sorts of videos on INFJs, INFPs, personality type, creativity, intuition, writing, all sorts of stuff. Energy, a lot of energy. So if you like this video, if it was helpful to you, please like the video. And please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.